Have you ever heard of the Mafia? Of course you have. How could you not have? This name is so infamous that it's synonymous with crime. But have you ever wondered why this name was chosen? What kind of story lies behind this one-word name that strikes fear into the hearts of millions? It was time to take a journey through history to find out how a simple three-letter word became so dangerous that it was even banned in court. This was due in part to the rise of American gangsterism. This book gave readers a glimpse into the inner workings of the Mafia and introduced them to some of the most iconic characters in history. The novel was so popular that it was adapted into a film in 1972. The Godfather is now considered to be one of the greatest movies of all time and has helped to cement the name Cosa Nostra in popular culture. Gangsters like Al Capone and Lucky Luciano popularized the name Cosa Nostra in the United States. In the United States, for example, judges have been known to hold people in contempt for using the term Cosa Nostra in court. They've been responsible for some of the most heinous crimes in history. They've evolved and adapted to the times and are more elusive than ever. This makes it even more important for authorities to be vigilant and to do everything in their power to bring them down. That's why it's so important for the justice system to crack down on them. If it's allowed to stand, it sends a message that organized crime is acceptable. They may be fined or even jailed for their defiance. Only those who were initiated into the group knew what Cosa Nostra meant and what it stood for. This name strikes fear into the hearts of their enemies, because it symbolizes the group's power and danger. It was a name that struck terror into the hearts of police and government officials alike. This is why judges often hold them in contempt and punish them accordingly. We redrawn to their world of secrecy and violence and cut, and help but be captivated by their stories. This classic film is widely regarded as one of the greatest movies ever made, and is sure to leave you speechless. Members of the Mafia are known for their code of silence, which means they don't cooperate with the police even if they're arrested. Who knows what kind of trouble it might bring your way? When someone identifies themselves as a member of the Mafia, they're essentially saying that they don't respect the court or the law. We have a whole playlist dedicated to this fascinating topic. So sit back, relax, and get ready to learn all about the Mafia. It shows the world that the Mafia is not above the law, and that even their name is not safe. When the name Cosa Nostra is mentioned in court, everyone in the room knows that something serious is happening. It's a name that commands respect and fear in equal measure. But did you know that this name was actually banned in court because it is seen as a sign of contempt for the legal system? The name Cosa Nostra means our thing in Italian, and was first used by organized crime groups in Sicily. The name was later popularized by American gangsters like Al Capone and Lucky Luciano. This can lead to a mistrial or the dismissal of charges against Mafia members. Because how can you have a fair trial when the defendant is openly defying the court? Their history is a long and bloody one, and their activities have caused immeasurable damage. But despite all the evil that they've done, there's still something about the Mafia that fascinates us. Maybe it's their code of silence, or their willingness to use violence to achieve their goals. Whatever it is, the Mafia is a criminal organization that we can't help but be drawn to. This code of silence makes it extremely difficult for authorities to prosecute Mafia members. Even if they have enough evidence to convict them of a crime, they'll often be acquitted due to lack of evidence. This is because the Mafia has a way of getting witnesses to recant their testimony or to disappear conveniently. And if that doesn't work, they have another option. The Mafia has a long history of violence and intimidation. They won't hesitate to use force to silence anyone who threatens to expose their activities. This can be in the form of physical violence, threats, or even murder. So if you're ever asked what's the most dangerous name in the world, you already know the answer. In fact, it was Capone who is said to have been the first to use the term publicly. He did this in a letter to his mother in which he bragged about his criminal activities and the power that he had amassed. Capone's brazenness in using the name Cosa Nostra showed the world that these groups were not afraid to flaunt their wealth and power. They were a force to be reckoned with and should not be messed with. It all started in Sicily, Italy, where the name Cosa Nostra first appeared. It's been suggested that this name comes from 16th century Spanish and means our thing, but no one knows for sure. The term Cosa Nostra first appeared in literature in the late 19th century. This is when Italy was going through a period of great social and political upheaval. The old order was being challenged by new ideas and new ways of doing things. and this created a climate of lawlessness and violence. In this lawless environment, organized crime groups began to emerge. They needed a name that would strike fear into the hearts of their enemies, and Cosa Nostra was born. The name Cosa Nostra is said to have been chosen because it represents the group's secrecy and exclusivity. Only those who are initiated into the group know what Cosa Nostra means and what it stands for. This sense of mystery and intrigue is what makes the Mafia so terrifying. When people hear the name Cosa Nostra, they know that there is something dark and dangerous lurking beneath the surface. But the name Cosa Nostra didn't stick right away. It wasn't until the early 20th century that it really took off. Another reason for the popularity of the name Cosa Nostra was the publication of Mario Puzo's novel, The Godfather, in 1969. So by the early 20th century, the name Cosa Nostra had come to represent everything that was feared and respected about organized crime. But it's not just the name itself that's scary, it's also how it's used. The name Cosa Nostra has been banned in court because it's seen as a sign of contempt for the legal system. The ban on the name Cosa Nostra isn't just limited to Italy or even Europe. It's a worldwide phenomenon. In the past, the Mafia has been involved in all sorts of illegal activities, from gambling and extortion to drug trafficking and murder. But despite all of this, the Mafia still exists today. While the ban on the name Cosa Nostra may seem like a small thing, it's actually a very big deal. So if you ever find yourself in an Italian courtroom and you hear the name Cosa Nostra spoken aloud, you better take cover. There is no doubt that the Mafia is one of the most notorious and feared criminal organizations in the world. The name Cosa Nostra is so infamous that it's become synonymous with the Mafia. In the early 20th century, Cosa Nostra became the name of choice for organized crime groups because it represented secrecy and exclusivity. When members of the Mafia identify themselves as such in court, they're basically saying that they do unrespect the legal system and are willing to break the law without consequences. But despite the danger that they pose, there's something about the Mafia that continues to fascinate us. If you're looking for a movie that will give you a glimpse into the world of the Mafia, then look no further than The Godfather. And if you want to learn more about the Mafia, then be sure to check out our other videos. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an upload.